We were just a stupid group of friends. Tom, Ezekiel, Sarah, and me, Ethan, always chasing trouble in our small Serbian town. Snow clung to the streets like a shroud, the air slicing into us with its icy claws. But we didn't care. We were invincible, or so we thought, even as whispers of disappearances crept through our school like a shadow. That evening, Tom had the spark of madness in his eyes. "Let's check out the old slaughterhouse at the edge of town," he said, his breath curling into the cold. Not a slaughterhouse anymore, of course. It was a ruin now, haunted by the story of a butcher who wasn't just a butcher, but a killer who turned his blades on people instead of livestock. "Bad idea," I muttered. But Tom grinned, Ezekiel shrugged, and Sarah raised her chin as if daring me to chicken out. So we went. The place loomed over us, its shattered windows like hollow eyes, the wind howling through gaps in its walls. Once inside, the air felt heavier, thicker, as if it didn't belong to this world. Broken hooks dangled from rusted chains in the ceiling, and old bloodstains marked the concrete floor, darkened to a grotesque black. "Cool," Tom said, his voice unnervingly loud in the silence. It wasn't cool. It felt wrong. The air buzzed with an energy that prickled my skin, a hum just below the frequency of sound. I wanted to leave, but the others wandered deeper. A door hung ajar at the back, leading down. Of course, Tom wanted to go. The basement reeked of decay, the walls coated in black mold. But it wasn't the smell that made me want to run. It was the symbols, jagged carvings burned into the floor and walls. They seemed to pulse under the light of our flashlights, alive and mocking. "What is this?" Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. "I don't know," Ezekiel said, "but we should—" Then the door above slammed shut. We spun around, the clang reverberating through the room like a death knell. My heart raced. I grabbed the handle and pulled, but it wouldn't budge. "Help me!" I shouted, but they didn't. They were frozen, staring at something behind me. I turned, and that's when I saw him. A figure emerged from the darkness, tall and gaunt, his skin stretched too tightly over his bones. His eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the light like a predator's. In his hand was a blade, long and serrated, dripping with something black. "You shouldn't have come here," he rasped, his voice like gravel sliding over stone. Tom tried to run, but the man moved faster than humanly possible. He was on Tom in a heartbeat, the knife plunging into his chest. Blood sprayed, hot and metallic in the cold air. Ezekiel screamed, but it was cut short as the man turned to him. I don't remember much after that, just the sound of Sarah's sobs and my own frantic breaths as I stumbled into the darkness hoping to escape. But there was no escape. I woke up chained to the wall, my wrists raw and burning. Tom, Ezekiel, and Sarah were next to me, pale and trembling. The man stood before us, holding a cleaver now, his eyes alight with some cruel amusement. "You are my guests," he said, his voice dripping with mockery, "and I will teach you what it means to hunger." Time lost meaning in that place. The man didn't speak much, only to whisper dark prayers to the symbols on the walls. He left us there bringing nothing but the occasional scrap of raw meat, laughing as we recoiled. Ezekiel was the first to die, his body giving out after days or weeks of starvation. Tom broke next. He cried as he picked up the blade the man had left on the floor. "I'm sorry," he whispered to Ezekiel's corpse before slicing into it. The sound of tearing flesh haunted me as much as the smell. I tried to resist, but hunger is a cruel god. It strips you of everything: dignity, sanity, humanity. I don't know when I gave in. I only know that when I did, I wept. One by one, we fell. Sarah disappeared into herself, rocking back and forth in silence. Tom stopped speaking entirely. And then, one day, the man came back. "You've done well," he said, his grin a grotesque slash across his face. "You've proven yourselves worthy." Of what? He didn't say. He turned to leave, but something in me snapped. I lunged at him, the chain snapping taut as I grabbed the knife from the floor. He laughed, a dry, hollow sound, as I stabbed him, again and again. But he didn't die. He only grinned wider as I screamed, my hands slick with his blood, or whatever it was. The door above creaked open, and light flooded the room. For a moment, I saw the outside world, so close, yet impossibly far. The man whispered one last thing before fading into the shadows. "You're free now, Ethan, but you'll never leave." I stumbled into the snow, my body weak and broken. The world looked the same, but I wasn't. I tried to tell my story, but no one believed me. The slaughterhouse is gone now, torn down to build something new. But I know it's not over, because every night I hear his voice in my dreams, whispering that I'll return.